What's going on, guys? Welcome back. We're here breaking down Last of Us Season 2, Episode 4, Day 1. So this episode was, a huge homage to us gamers. If Episode 1, with the little moment that they have in the supermarket where you get to see them kind of use the glass bottle, you get to see Dina use her sound abilities to kind of gauge how many enemies are around. We get like a full serving of that in this episode. Ellie and Dina finally made it to Seattle. Amazing, beautiful setting in the show, and it looks just like it does in the game. One of the things that I found super impressive was the moment where Ellie and Dina make it to the TV station and they find the WLF soldiers hanging with their kind of entrails hanging out. That scene, that setting, exactly like the game, and I appreciated it so much as a game player. The setting was amazing. Apparently that whole set was practical, and they nailed it. One of the things that I found super impactful in that scene, when Ellie and Dina are escaping and they ruthlessly take out a couple WLF soldiers. This is a big sequence that's speaking to kind of what the whole idea behind the second game is. So you play video games and you take out all these characters, you kill like hundreds of people throughout the game, and they're these kind of nameless, faceless people. And what they've done in the game is they make these people really feel like parts of these groups that you're kind of taking them out of. In the game, when you kill people, they like yell their names when they find out that they're dead. So these people kind of have identities. And this moment in the show was a little taste of that, because the WLF and their relationship with each other and how much they care for each other is obviously a huge part of their motivation, and it mirrors Ellie's motivation because she's here trying to avenge the death of somebody that she loved. There's a parallel there, and I love seeing that kind of manifest itself in the show. Then we get to the subway, which is amazing and just like the game with the red flares. I loved the change in the big horde that comes and attacks the group that's kind of chasing after Ellie and Dina, and then they have their big escape. One of the other things I really loved about this episode is we get introduced to Isaac, played by Jeffrey Wright. I mean, one of the best actors working today. One of the cool things is he's reprising his role from the game, so he played the voice of Isaac in the game. So one of the few characters that have kind of transitioned from the game to the show and are played by the same character. We get a cool little introduction to Jeffrey's character. It's him back when he was working with Fedra. He was one of the leaders of Fedra. And then you get to see that moment where he transitions from Fedra to WLF. One of the cool interviews that I saw afterwards was with Jeffrey Wright, and he's kind of talking about his motivations in that moment. He's felt like he's put in his all to try to make this a good organization. We all know that Fedra kind of devolved into this fascist group that controls people with like an iron fist. And I thought the parallel of that scene to the next scene, where we get to see Isaac in a leadership role, leader of the WLF, interrogating a Seraphite or the Scars, was a great addition to the show, which we didn't really get to see in the game. That scene was probably the best scene I've seen in the show. I thought the performance from the guy that played the Seraphite and Jeffrey were amazing. His little monologue about how he always wanted this fancy cookware, and then he uses that cookware to kind of torture the guy and burn his hand, I thought was really powerful, really impactful, really shows the motivation of the Seraphites, which is going to be a huge part in the upcoming season and probably the next season as well. And their conflict with the WLF will come to a head. So I'm excited to kind of see how they're going to portray that, if we're going to get to see that in season 2, or if they're going to wait for season 3. The little changes that they've been making, I think, have been really, really awesome to see. We get a big moment with Dina and Ellie. They're running away from this horde, and Ellie sacrifices her arm to take a bite so that Dina doesn't have to when they're trying to make it through a turnstile. And then we get the big kind of conflict at the end of the episode where Dina thinks Ellie is about to turn. She's got a gun pointed towards her. Ellie is trying to explain to her that she's immune. Obviously, nobody would believe that, considering Ellie is the only immune person that we've ever met. That moment comes to the conclusion of Ellie and Dina realizing their love for each other. Dina is very much relieved to realize that Ellie is immune. Ellie sleeps throughout the whole night and wakes up normal, not shaking. And then they have this beautiful moment. All of Dina's emotions kind of come out. You know, you see their little love kind of manifesting itself. which I thought was awesome. Big difference from the game. If you played the game, you got this moment a little earlier on in the story whenever they were at the grow house, which in the show ended up being Ellie and Jesse, but in the game it was Ellie and Dina, and that's kind of their first little moment. So that was a cool change. I thought it made that setting super impactful. That theater is gonna play a big role in the story to come, and I'm excited to see where we get to that point, when we get to that point in the story. In my opinion, I feel like we're probably going to end this season in that theater in a big culmination of characters kind of coming to a head and crossing paths again. So I'm excited to see if my theory comes true. But what do you guys think? Where do you think they're gonna end this season? Where do you think we're gonna pick up next season? Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Thanks so much for watching the channel. Please leave a comment, subscribe if you guys haven't yet. Thanks so much. Let's catch you guys next week. Peace.